You've been told your whole life to be nice, be the good guy, and nobody told you the price. Being nice has a cost, and most men only realize it when it's already too late. If you're the kind of man who avoids conflict, explains himself too much, gives second chances, and tries to be fair with everyone, this video is going to offend you. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the men who are always nice are the first ones ignored, used, and replaced. You were taught that kindness builds loyalty, that fairness earns respect, that being agreeable makes people value you. Being nice feels safe, it feels like the right thing to do, and it might be the most expensive mistake you will ever make. Machiavelli warned against this centuries ago. Not because kindness is evil, but because unprotected kindness is weakness, and weakness is always exploited. When you are always agreeable, people stop fearing consequences. When there is no fear, there is no respect. And when there is no respect, kindness becomes a weakness. Machiavelli understood this about human nature. He didn't romanticize people. He studied them. And his warning was brutal. A ruler who tries to be good at all times will be ruined among those who are not good. That's not cruelty. That's realism. And if you're thinking, but I don't want to be ruthless, good. Neither did Machiavelli. What he warned against was something far more dangerous: being harmless. Because harmless men don't get betrayed loudly. They get drained quietly. And here's the trap. The nicer you are, the more people feel entitled to you, your time, your attention, your forgiveness. And when you finally push back, they act shocked. They call you cold. They say you've changed. No, you stopped bleeding for free. Before we go further, pause for a second. Think about the last time you let something slide. The last time you stayed quiet to keep the peace. Did it bring you peace? Or did it teach people how far they could go with you? Machiavelli observed this pattern clearly. He wrote, in essence, that men are quick to forget benefits, but slow to forget fear. Not because they are evil, but because they are human. And if you misunderstand human nature, you don't become virtuous. You become vulnerable. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed how the more understanding you are, the more people push you? The more patient you are, the more they delay respecting you. The more forgiving you are, the more they feel entitled to cross your boundaries. That's not bad luck. That's cause and effect. Here's the harsh truth nobody wants to say out loud. People don't respect what they don't fear losing. They don't value what never pushes back. And they don't protect someone who refuses to protect himself. The world does not reward kindness. It rewards leverage. And every time you choose niceness over self-respect, you quietly hand your leverage away. You think being nice keeps you safe. It doesn't. It makes you predictable. You think being nice earns loyalty? It doesn't. It attracts people who need something from you. You think being nice builds reputation? It does. The wrong one, Machiavelli warned. Not in soft words, not in motivational quotes. He warned that people do not respect goodness unless it comes with the ability to do harm. In The Prince, the message is clear. A man who is only good becomes prey among wolves. And look around. You've seen it happen. The guy who always helps, always listens, always forgives, always explains himself. Where is he now? Underappreciated and confused why life keeps stepping on him. Let me paint you a scene. You say yes when you want to say no. You stay quiet when you should speak. You tolerate disrespect to keep the peace. And slowly, something shifts. People interrupt you. People push boundaries. People assume access to your time, your energy, your effort. Not because they're evil, but because you made it easy. I'm going to expose the hidden cost of being nice, the one that destroys authority before you even realize it's gone. Stick around. Because this is where most men lose control of their own lives. This is where it starts to get uncomfortable. Once you see how this works, you can't unsee it. Let's start where the damage actually begins. The nice man believes respect will come if he proves he is good enough. The world works the opposite way. Respect comes when people know there is a line they cannot cross. People don't wake up planning to disrespect you. They learn it. It happens slowly, while you're telling yourself you're doing the right thing. Every time you tolerate disrespect without response, you teach people your limits. Every time you forgive without consequence, you show them the cost of crossing you is low. Every time you soften your boundaries to avoid tension, you lower the cost of crossing you. And human beings respond to incentives, not intentions. Marcus Aurelius said, "You can be kind without being weak." But most people miss the second half of that lesson. Kindness without firmness is self-betrayal. Here's the harsh reality. People don't remember how kind you were. They remember what happened when they crossed you. And when nothing happens, something dangerous forms in their mind. They stop seeing you as a person with boundaries. They start seeing you as a resource, someone to lean on, someone to interrupt, someone to borrow from, someone to dump problems on, someone to ignore when it's inconvenient. You become useful, not respected. And usefulness without authority is a trap. A late reply you excuse, a promise broken that you rationalize, a boundary crossed that you forgive without correction. You tell yourself you're being mature, but what you're actually doing is removing friction. And where there is no friction, pressure builds. People don't respect what costs them nothing. Seneca warned about this long before modern psychology existed. He said, "He who is too eager to forgive invites injury." Not because forgiveness is wrong, but because forgiveness without correction teaches people there is no cost, and human behavior follows incentives. Machiavelli understood that power depends on perception, and perception is shaped by consequences. If there is no consequence for crossing you, your words lose weight. Your silence stops being respected. Your presence stops commanding attention. And here's the part most people miss. Niceness doesn't prevent conflict. It delays it. It compounds it. Until one day, the disrespect isn't subtle anymore. It's open, public, and by then, correcting it costs 10 times more than it would have earlier. This is why Machiavelli advised rulers to set boundaries early. Not loudly, but clearly. Because once people learn they can cross you safely, reversing that belief is painful. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think respect is something you earn by being good, by being understanding. That's a lie. Respect is learned through boundaries, and niceness erases them. When you let things slide early, you don't look mature. You look negotiable. Every time you excuse bad behavior, you teach people what they can get away with. Every time you stay silent when something crosses a line, you send a message louder than words. You're telling them, this is allowed. And once something becomes allowed, it becomes expected. This is why nice people feel shocked later in life. They say things like, "I don't understand how this happened. I was always good to them. I never did anything wrong." Exactly. You never did anything. You are constantly managing other people's comfort while slowly abandoning your own. And the moment you finally speak up, they look at you like you are the problem. Why? Because you trained them. You taught them a version of you that never pushes back. So when you finally do, it feels like betrayal to them. But it isn't betrayal. It's correction. And correction always feels aggressive to people who benefited from your silence. Machiavelli put it bluntly. Men forget favors faster than they forget punishments. Not because they're ungrateful, but because consequences leave an imprint. And if this part is uncomfortable, good. that means you're seeing the pattern. Because next, we need to talk about the hidden psychological cost of being nice. The one that doesn't just affect how others treat you. It changes how you see yourself. And that's where real damage begins. Before we go further, pause for a second. If you're still watching, you're not like most people. Most people quit when truth starts getting uncomfortable. They scroll. They distract themselves. They avoid it. But you stayed. And that tells me something uncomfortable about you. You've felt this cost before. You just didn't have the words for it. Here's the harsh truth. Being nice doesn't just drain your leverage. It slowly erases your identity. Not overnight, not dramatically. It happens in moments you call normal. Let me show you how. You start saying yes when you want to say no. Not because you agree, but because you don't want tension. You start laughing at jokes that disrespect you. Not because they're funny, but because silence feels awkward. You start explaining your decisions to people who don't even respect you, just so they won't misunderstand you. And every time you do this, something inside you contracts. You feel it later, in quiet moments, at night. That irritation, that sense you're being pulled in directions you never chose. And that's the dangerous part. Marcus Aurelius warned, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts are always, let it go. Don't cause trouble.